And which rides are best suited for Joe? When a ride request comes in, Joe doesn't need to worry. Maximo will automatically accept the ride request that matches his filters, and then turn off the app that isn't currently on a ride. Once Joe finishes the ride, Maximo will turn everything back on. This will allow Joe to focus more on his passengers and driving safe.
Hey, what's up, everybody? Happy Friday morning. A random, well, I guess for a lot of you, it's afternoon. For me, it's still 11 a.m. On the West Coast, it's 10 a.m. On the East Coast, it's 1 p.m. And in Gary Middleton time, and that would be Central, it's noon. So, just a couple things here. I'm gonna run through. Just kind of telling you about like what's going on with the podcast and what's up, Gary? Did you hear that, Gary Middleton time? Um, what's going on with the podcast? What the summer schedule looks like? I just want to kind of walk you through what the summer podcast, the YouTube channel, the Driver Nation on tncradio.live, and some other things. And if some people are in here afterwards, we can have a little bit of chat. I'm not going to have a ton of time today because I have to get ready for the radio show tonight. And I am trying to hang out with my son because on Monday he starts his job. His training was this week and he's got a few days off. But Monday he'll get his schedule and he'll start having a schedule through the summer. So I'm going to try and make some time. What's up, Freestyle? How are you? Okay, so okay, before I get started, because last night I almost forgot to do this, and I meant to do this. But well, I mean, I ended up doing it, but John was in there and he reminded me. Uh so John McCallion. So if you guys aren't really familiar with John, he has had a YouTube channel for a bit here, but he hasn't put out content in a while. And for the last, I don't know, I would say I'm just guessing here, but the last 2 to 3 weeks, he has been putting out daily content. And he's doing a lot of the stuff that a lot of creators are talking about, mental your mental state, your what's up, Xander? Happy Friday. Your mental state, your how are you saving to earn? Are you and he's putting out some really good content the last few weeks. They're anywhere from like 4 to 10-minute videos. He's dropping like one a day. And if you're not familiar with John also, John is the author of 3 books. Yes, he has written 3 books. They're not really based on the gig economy. However, they're all applicable to the gig economy because they're kind of life books. I mean, they're strategies for life. They're how to, they're easy reads. They're good reads, and it's even if you're not a big reader, you can sit down and you could probably take the book in. He sent me one, and when I actually sat down and did it, I took it in a few hours. But there's a lot to be like when you're done with the book, you'll find yourself thinking about a lot of stuff. So check out John McCallion. When I'm done, I have not made the show notes. I usually am able to say on like Thursday nights and such that hey, his link's already in the show notes. It's nothing's in the show notes yet, but as soon as I'm done, because I am actually working off paper and pen today. I was just kind of sitting. I was just sitting, having my coffee, and just making some notes, and I just wanted to roll through a few things. So I wanted to mention John and go check out his stuff. You and like a video, like 2 videos. If you like his channel, subscribe. And by the way, same thing here, guys. Our subscriber count is starting to go up here. I think I crossed 700. Yeah, I've been doing the audio podcast a lot longer than the YouTube channel. However, I think I've built built really good people who actually follow this channel. Um, as I've said to many people, like a lot of times I get a lot more likes and views than I had subscribers. So now that's starting to kind of get up there where a lot closer, but even then it was great. I mean, that just means a lot of people were liking it. They were just forgetting to subscribe. And I even had people told me, "I am subscribed to you." And I'm like, "Are you sure?" And they're like, "Yeah, you come up in my feed all the time." Well, if you watch the videos that I'm putting out, and if you like them or whatever, you might just think you're subscribed, because if you like a video, it's gonna come up in your feed again, so you might think, "Yeah, I subscribe because he's coming up in my feed." So double check, um, and there's also weird kinks all the time in, uh, in YouTube. So a lot of times, like, I've gone, if you hover over the thing that's, for somebody it says subscribe, and then you click it, and it takes you to their page, it says subscribe. So you can accidentally unsubscribe. So if you're ever wondering what's going on with YouTube, it does have a weird kink that happens sometimes. So go in there and, sometimes not just me, but make sure with if you're ever wondering like what's going on, why am I not getting notifications? Go ahead and check your settings, but also check that that you are subscribed to all the people you want to be, because sometimes it does weird stuff. Um, okay, so, the other another channel I wanted to point out, who definitely deserves some recognition and has been busting his, tail lately, is Tony the Driven Dad, and he's even brought in Lisa the Driven Mom. But you can find them both, they both have YouTube handles, but you can find them both on the Driven Dad channel. So check them out. I used to plug Tony as, you wanna watch a guy and he works in the same market as me. He works here in Denver. Tony has been over to my house. We've met for breakfast. So he's one of the creators I've actually met in person. Um, Great guy, and now he's, sometimes Lisa's in there too, so you got the Driven Dad and the Driven Mom. Sometimes you got them doing it together, and so go check them out too. Again, I'll put all of it into the show notes when this is done. Um, and then the last one that I wanted to hit on just showed up in here, Mr. Bud Soda, and he has not been putting out he wasn't putting out content. He was getting some subscribers because he's always in the mix with good solid points, valid points, take challenging people to look at what they're stating and make sure that it's correct, or, at least voice his opinion on something, since a lot of this is opinion based. But he hadn't put out some content in a minute, and I know he's getting back to it, but keep checking him out. So if you were watching some of the content he was dropping, and then you noticed that he hadn't dropped as much lately, I know he's getting back onto the Air Force base, up by him, and that's like a big, big, big portion of his work. So I guess I'm challenging Bud Soda to start dropping your content again, because he's got different good content to offer, and you guys should be checking them out. So I'll put all three in the show notes. But really, what I'm here about today is the to let you know for another thing too. First of all, I'm going to be putting out a 5-minute video, and if you land on the homepage of this channel right now, it's a curry roundtable will come up as the header video. I'm going to be putting out a 5-minute video on what this channel is, because I don't want people confused, but I am way too branded to change the name Rideshare Rodeo, nor do I want to. The logo, the name, everything is branded across so many platforms for years. The podcast, the radio show. I mean, just it's branded on everything. Every place I've guest appeared, articles I've written for papers, um, you know, associates I work with, they all know that. So I can't change that, nor do I want to, like I said. However, I'm going to put out a 5-minute video describing all the different things that I cover, so that people understand when they come to the page, hey, this is what you can expect. This is what I do. Um, because it's not just rideshare. In fact, it's not just rideshare at all. Yes, I do talk about rideshare, but I talk about a lot of things, a lot of things. So stay tuned for that, and that is coming. The other thing I want to talk about is something that what's up, Jim Jones? Is that Gary asked me the other day about the logo, and it reminded me of the first time I was on Chad, the gig economist, GigTube. This is like way back. This is like probably about a year ago. When he was Chad, the gig economist. Still, he had me on, and in the first 2 minutes of our interview, he was like, "So what's up with your logo?" I was like, "Well, that's an interesting start. Here we go." But Gary asked me Gary asked me the same thing. You guys, here's what the logo is. So the logo is the gig economy is toxic. You need to be extremely careful. So watch your six and make sure that you're earning. If you're not, move on, pivot, all that kind of stuff. But don't trust these companies. Don't trust them to be making sure that you're making good money, because they're never, ever, ever going to do that. So the logo interprets a gas mask of protection from these gig toxic companies that we do all earn off. So when I say toxic, okay, but they, we can still earn on them, but don't trust them. Don't think they have your best interest at heart ever, because they don't. A lot of them, most of them can't even make profits. So they're struggling in their own right too. And I'm sure you can say, yeah, well, if their CEOs are collecting $50 million plus a year, how bad are they struggling? Well, they're struggling pretty bad, because if you were to pull out, and I think he does need to go, if you were to pull out Dara out of Uber right now and replace him, you're still going to have to replace him with another CEO that's going to want 50, 70 million. So it's not like, let's get rid of Dara and hire the $1 million guy. It's just how it is. There's no conspiracy here or anything. This is just CEOs that get to that level. If they're going to pivot to a new job, they're going to look for that type of pay. So, so don't let that weird you out. But do for yourself. But the logo represents being you, being independent, staying aware of what these companies do, learning the platforms, and there's lots of channels out there to do that from. There's lots of content creators who are more like myself, who are more than willing to help you. If you have questions, just ask. But what I did to the logo was I took the gas mask and I put in, like a 1960s stop the Vietnam, or stop the war type, flower power type thing going on. So has that hippie mentality in a gas mask face. So it's like, we're independent, we're our own people, but we do it with caution. Something along those lines. So anyway, that's my explanation. So Chad, if you're watching this, if I didn't give you the right explanation the first time you asked me, that's the explanation. I'll have to go back, so I don't even remember what I told you. I think we got into an argument, and I was like, "Well, your logo's weird." Like, I was like, "What is it? A cartoon character with a beer?" So anyway, um, just having fun, Chad. Nothing on you. Hey, what's up, Hannibal? How are you? Uh, um, but yeah, so okay, I'm gonna, right now, guys, I'm working full-time Curry, and I told you guys many, many times that's not even possible. I said that, Curry's a great background app, and I've worked with Curry for a long time. I've worked with Curry all the way back to um, August of last year, so a long time, and I know the company very well. However, they've never been able to provide full time enough gigs in a day. And then I started having a sporadic day here or there where I was getting full time work out of Curry. But nowadays, and Hannibal's in here now too. I know he's been getting a few more, but Nowadays, I can literally make a day on curry. In fact, I'm having to decline good orders or great, very, very, very good orders deliveries in waiting for amazing orders. So, or I'm on a very, very, very good order and an amazing order comes through. So I'm actually not even able to keep up with all of the requests they're sending me. It's not like, if I'm getting like 15 a day plus, and that's true. And I'm not including if the rate goes up. Like if they put out one and the rate's too low and then it goes up, goes up, goes up. I'm not counting all of those. I'm counting each specific request for a job. The pay might keep going up, but that still counts as one. But I'm getting 15 plus a day that very few of them are junk. And I know this isn't true in all markets, but stick with it. And if you have an SUV or bigger, like Hannibal and I both have SUVs, that's probably part of why we're getting it, because people with the bigger trucks right now who would normally be thrown some of these jobs are not wanting to go out and spend the gas that it takes to run those type of vehicles. So they're kind of bowing it back a little bit to say, okay, well, as long as the SUV can fit it, send them. I've always done well getting orders, but now it's become really well. So here's the summer schedule though that I have laid out, because I was having my coffee outside today and I was just taking everything on paper notes. So I just wanted to kind of roll through it. So Mondays, the time might vary a little bit because it depends on the guest, but I've done the audio podcast for 2 years now, Rideshare Rodeo. And I am for the first time doing co-hosts. So not guests, co-hosts. And people, some people have asked what's the difference. Well, the difference is when I have a guest, I'm interviewing the guest, what they do, what apps they work, this, that, the other. But when I have a co-host, I'm doing the Rideshare Rodeo podcast with news, topics, things like that. And I'm asking a co-host to come on and discuss each of the topics with me. So it's not really about the co-host. It's about the news and other topics I want to talk about that week. And we just discuss it openly, whether we agree or not. So far, great start. I've had Lou and Mary twice from Long Island Dash Experience. I've had Mr. Bud Soda once. He was nice enough to fill in for a guest who we had a conflict of schedule. And then this last week I had Zach Drives Fast, and all of them have gone great, and it's a lot of fun for me too. So that'll be continuing. I do try. Here's my target time on that is 8 p.m. Eastern, 5 p.m. Pacific. And if the guest needs to tweak it around a little bit, or if the guest is on the West Coast, or if the guest is out of country, obviously the time needs to tweak. But I will always try and get that, schedule up. Like, so you see it on YouTube is what time it will happen. But yeah, so that's my target time. If it works for the guest, it's 8 p.m. Eastern, 5 p.m. Pacific. And with the Rideshare Rodeo podcast, it's to run 60 to 75 minutes. So that's kind of a runtime. So that's what you can expect on that one. So on Tuesdays, I'm going to be doing some lives, but it's not going to be a weekly thing. And if it is, some weeks it might just be me for like a 30-minute piece. That's it. Just going through a couple of things that I want to discuss. But I've already got a couple of things scheduled about some of the legislation coming down the pipe on independent contractorship and removing it, also keeping it. So I've got Kim Cavan coming back on, who is amazing. And she's in this fight deep right now in New Jersey and helping out other states. And then I got Mike Harubi coming back on, who is another amazing voice and has wrote his own national legislation. If you haven't seen the piece that I did with Mike a couple weeks ago, I suggest you go back and watch it, because if you're an independent contractor in this country and you haven't watched that piece with Mike Harubi, you're missing out. Because I have a ton of pieces, I have a ton of roundtables. I have Lisa Rothstein, Gail Gordon, Karen Anderson, all these AB5 people, and Kim Cavan from New Jersey, and all these people. There's a lot of older ones you can go back and watch that are great and still meaningful and still apply too. They're still very important. However, the one recently I did with Mike Karubi, who lives up in Massachusetts, he has a lot of background in this stuff, and he has actually proposed his own national legislation. So it's not something that the channel is focused on, but there will be occasional Tuesdays where you will see some of those drop. Those will be kept to an hour. They will be live, and it will be live for open Q&A. And when I book these guests now, which I wasn't doing before. What's up, Chris from Real Rideshare Stories? How are you? And what's up, Sabuena? But yeah, so when I have them on, I'm gonna be doing it live. If you can catch it, because there is no, I don't want to ask this question. It seems too easy. Ask it. These people love answering even the easy ones. They just want everybody to be aware of what's going on whatever level they need to bring it to. So none of them have a problem with it. I don't either. I really, really want all of you to join us because I think there's a lot to be learned. Wednesdays is usually the one day I don't have a podcast. I don't have a live stream. The Gig Economy podcast out of Michigan, Jason Thierry and I are very, very good friends. And he's actually been like an audio wizard to me. Even though I do a lot of production work, it's been lighting and lasers for me. So he was quite a help getting the audio podcast going. We became really good friends. We are going to a podcast, the podcast movement together in Dallas. We've never met in person. We've known each other about 3 years now. And because even before my podcast, when just uberliftdrivers.com was going, he was getting his news from uberliftdrivers.com for the podcast. He invited me on about 3 years ago. I went on, did some pieces with him on there before starting mine, but every other Wednesday he is on. So I always try and catch that and be supportive. But also Wednesdays is my day to work on uberliftdrivers.com and all of my social platforms in terms of not just putting up content or a new thing here or there, but trying to find out what trends, what people are doing on social platforms and try and kind of always be moving mine around a little bit. But on uberliftdrivers.com, there are some changes coming that are going to be awesome, especially to a lot of you creators that are in here right now, because I'm going to have a directory page that will let each of you write, if you want, write just a paragraph on your channel and then have a direct link to it from the website. And the website gets great traffic. So I will be getting more out about that. And hopefully some of you guys will want to do that. It would be nothing but beneficial to you. So moving on. Thursdays, obviously, maybe not obviously to everybody, but the Rodeo Roundtable, we have a great panel. Hannibal is Hungry, Gary Middleton, Kim Side Money has joined us, and then we have a guest every week. So some of our upcoming guests are in the next just few weeks are Dasher Pass, Faith. She's going to be making her return next week on that on the round table. Yost Malone, Zach Drives Fast, and more. I can't see my calendar from here, and so but yeah, so and more. But yeah, that's at 9 p.m. Eastern, 6 p.m. Pacific on Thursday nights. Always join us. I know there's been a couple, the Atlanta Delivers ones were in the daytime. That's because we're dealing with England, New York, California. I mean, we're dealing with so many different time zones of watchers and viewers that we've had to change that around a little bit. But it's a steady 9 p.m. Eastern. Fridays today, tncradio.live. And I don't think enough of you tune into this, yet we have a big the audience keeps growing for this, but a lot of you, if you are listening, aren't calling in. It's a call-in show. So I will put the call-in number into the notes. Again, when I'm done with this, I'll put it into the notes so that you guys can see the link, and you can go to tncradio.live. It's .live. And then it's called Driver Nation, and it runs from 7 to 9 Eastern time. and we just have a great time on there. It's a mix of some music because it's a trucker radio station, and it's kind of oriented towards truckers who part-time in the gig economy. However, we really love the full-time um, gig economy people to call in or be a guest or whatever. So this week, I do have two guests on tonight. We got Rideshare Lisa, and we also have Entree Courier Ron Walter will be joining Tom Kelly and I, who Tom Kelly and I do the show. And Jason Thierry normally does the show, but Jason Thierry takes the summers off because of his summer job. So he is taking off until I think it's end of August or whatever. So we'll just kind of be filling in here and there, but I will put the phone number in. You can literally call. There's no video. It's radio. So you can call while you're working. You might have to mute it here or there if things are too loud, but it's a lot of fun, and you should check it out if you haven't yet. It's kind of a let our hair down too. It's a lot of fun. Sometimes we go way off subject, and sometimes we talk about some really heavy stuff. So check it out. Saturday, I've had great feedback on the 13 minutes of news in under 13 minutes, or 13 minutes or under, and I'm gonna keep that going because I like it. I like also like realizing that I put up my stories and I have to get them all in there in a single take, and I kind of roll through them in my head a couple times, and then I hit, it's a one take thing. I hit record and I just go. And I'm like, and then I know I got to get through them. So I'm sitting there watching the time. And if it ever goes over 13 minutes, guys, I will post it and I will say, well, I didn't do it this week, but I haven't missed it yet. I've gotten close. I think the closest I got was like 13 seconds away from 13 minutes, but it's always been between 12 and 13 minutes. So I have nailed it so far. We'll see if I can keep that up. And obviously on Sundays is Sunday Fun Day. That's becoming a big fun time for people. We really don't have a run time on that for how long that goes. Usually Gary joins me. What's up, Roy? What's up, Rex? Um, Gary usually joins, and we see who else wants to join. It's really open for all of you. Like if you haven't ever been on a live stream and you want to, well, this is where you come on there. We don't talk all gig. We talk about. I usually start off with Hannibal, usual 5 hours. No, man, we did 6 hours once. We did 4 hours another. And I think the other longest was like 3. There's been some like hour and a half ones, but you are right on thinking that because it has been growing, because it was 3 hours, then 2 weeks ago it was 4 hours, or no, 3 hours, then 2 weeks ago 6 hours, and then last week 4 hours. So you're probably right if you're just averaging the last, or close if you're just averaging the last 3 weeks. But if we do keep it going that long, it's because we're having fun. So that's kind of what we base it on. It's open topic, it's open forum. You can come on, you can talk anything gig, and you can talk about anything else too. We'll keep it kind of we'll keep it pretty open. We don't care if you guys want to talk about other things too. I do try and start it usually with like one topic or something, like where for a certain, maybe it's 20 minutes or something, I talk about one thing, I put it out there, and if we want to continue that talk, cool. If not, it's just a way for me to get going. Sundays can get adult. Yeah, thanks, Bud Soda. Yes, they can. And actually, that's a good time for me to get into this. So uberlyftdrivers.com, ridesharerodeo.com, and all Rideshare Rodeo podcast, all of the branding that I do, all the social media platforms, Driver Nation, the website's been going for over 5 years. The audio podcast has been going for over 2 years. The YouTube channel has been going for a year next month. Even though if you look at my about, it says that it signed up 2 years ago. I didn't put any videos out for a year. I just signed up so I could have a YouTube account to kind of interact with. But the first video dropped in July of last year, so next month will be the year anniversary. So, and hey, what's up, Tony? I gave you a plug at the beginning. You missed it, bro. Um, uh, so okay, so I want to talk about sponsors real quick because I don't want people confused. Um, I only work with sponsors who I use their product. I have talked to their CEOs. I've talked to people who work with the company. I have talked to other users. Um, I've done my research. I believe in these products. And if you're wondering, yes, I have turned people down. People have approached me and said, "Hey, can I advertise?" No. And not always because I'm saying like, "No, I don't believe in your platform," or whatever, but no, because I don't know about your platform, especially like new ones and stuff. Like if you were like launching a new platform tomorrow, I can't really advertise for you because I don't want to put my brand behind something I don't know about. And um I have had very, 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 very good luck on working with all good people. So um so when it says sponsors, you guys too, I do want to mention this, that I have a lot of marketing background. So sometimes these sponsorships are not merely the 30-second plugs that you hear. I have team interaction, like with Curry when they were the primary sponsor. And actually when I was sponsored by Curry for um at least for 5 of the months I was sponsored, it was an exclusive sponsor, so I had no other things, and that's when I learned a lesson that I didn't want it to be like that, no offense. I got to learn everything about Curry, ins and outs, meet everybody, but, but still, even if it's not exclusive, a lot of my sponsorships, I do a lot of work for. I work with their marketing teams. I say what I think that, from a driver gig worker perspective, what is going right, what's going wrong. So I'm kind of like their ears on the ground. So it's not just these plugs you hear or affiliate links you might see. Yes, they're there because I believe in the companies, but I'm also very much active with these companies in terms of trying to show them things that I think need to be changed, point out things that drivers don't like, all that kind of stuff. So when I do this, give me honest, true feedback on these apps. If you have something that differs from my opinion, awesome, because that's the kind of stuff that I like to take to them. And not all of you have an open phone to the CEOs of these companies. I do. I can call them and say, "Hey, here's a list of some goods this week. Here's a list of some bads." And not only do I have that open communication, it's expected that I use that communication with my sponsors. So the sponsorship on this channel means I am doing a lot of work. If so it's not like just selling ad space and saying, "Okay, these are the sponsors." I actually do a lot behind the scenes with these companies as well. So um but most importantly, I believe in them. I use them and I have dissected everything around them. So that said, I want to get into the main thing that I wanted to talk about today because it gets a little confusing. So if you look in the show notes of, I hope, every every video, but I have gone back to correct some that were missing things and whatnot. I'm still in the process of doing that. So if you don't see it in one, go to another one. But very soon here, it should be in all of them. You will find you will find all of the affiliate links at the bottom. If there's an affiliate link in there, I have had sponsorships with them. I still have affiliate links or even affiliate programs, which is maybe some sort of sponsorship on a low level, or if they're wanting to run a campaign or something. Um, but I want to just roll through like the main ones um, that I like working with the most. So, obviously, Curry, I can't say enough about Curry. And I do that with a grain of salt because I know a lot of you guys are on the waiting list. I would say hang tight because, like I was mentioning earlier, these gas prices are making it very difficult for the bigger vehicles to be able to afford going out there and saying, okay, yeah, that's a good paying gig. But with gas prices and with the 10 miles a gallon some of these trucks get, they just can't do it. So a lot more orders are coming to like even SUVs, even cars. Like I do a lot of Sherman-Williams. A lot of Sherman-Williams can be done in a car. So don't sell yourself short. If all you have is a car, so maybe call Curry too if you've been on the waiting list for a while and say, hey, any chance I can come off this? You can also email me. I can always check the area. Sometimes I get a direct answer like, well, we're gonna let a certain amount of people on next week in that market. Sometimes it's like we don't know, it's oversaturated, so it's straight no. But Curry is awesome, and I want to give them mad props. Dumpling. If you're looking to be a true independent contractor, run your own business, set your own prices, set your own format. It's not just groceries. You can do anything you want. You can walk dogs. You can house sit. You can detail somebody's car. You can set what jobs you do. I mean, you might specialize like Hannibal. Hannibal does dog walking. He could have a dog walking service through Curry, and Curry takes very little. However, you have to build your own client base. Once you do that, the small percentage that that Dumpling takes is to nothing really when you think about it. Like for example, I have an Apple Square account to invoice and bill people, and I get as hit on that as I do on as I would with a Dumpling client for the transaction. I mean, realistically, they charge a higher percentage on Square. So, they're taking a good chunk. Dumpling really doesn't take much, you guys. So, again, in the show notes, and this is more for you guys, in any of the show notes, you can go look and sign up for Dumpling. And if you use Rodeo 2022, all one word in the promo, and if you do 8 shops in 60 days, you will get a bonus $300. It was 4 or 500. It is at 3, and it's not going to go below, but you'll get a bonus $300. Now that for 8 shops, one client. If you landed one client who needed groceries every week, one client, one person who just said, can you get my groceries every week? You would get that $300 bonus. If you think about it, because you got 8 weeks in 60 days, it's 2 months, you got 8 weeks there. So you're going to get your 8 off one client. And one thing you'll learn about Curry or Dumpling is go back and watch some of the videos, especially where I had Celeste or Matt Tells. Those guys are huge Curry success stories, and all of their clients came from word of mouth. Somebody saying, hey, I stopped using Instacart, or I stopped using this because I got this guy. He's great. Same guy every time. And just a lot of trust in there. So I love the CEO. Joel is a great guy. Check out Dumpling. They're awesome. And of course, Mr. Gary Middleton Tech, his Maximo app, his driver utility helper app, his Flex Alert app, which we never really even talk about that much, but it's there, guys. But the Gary's apps are amazing. I mean, I think he says thousands of filters. So, I mean, you can keep it at a basic level, but you can dive deep too and say, well, wait a minute. Okay, so I don't want to drive farther than this. I don't want to make less than this. I don't want to go, I don't want to go here. I don't want to go there. You can really kind of it's like you're able to tweak out what you want. And then one of the biggest things, and I made a TikTok about this not too long ago, is that I did it kind of in a fun, joking way, but I'm gonna be very serious right now, is that all of us, and I see this every day too, and not just gig workers, all of us are always typing on our phones. I mean, while driving. I'm not saying me, I'm just saying I see people who aren't doing gig work at a light typing on their phone. And then everybody starts honking. I'm sure you guys have seen the same. And they drop their phone and kind of like gun it. It's almost like even if the light was red and you honked and they're typing, they might still go just because they know, oh, okay, I'm still typing. I need to go. So they might just go through it without even looking. But I've seen people driving and doing it. So Gary's apps allow you to not have to do anything like that. You set all your parameters on what you want from the apps, and then you let the app accept and decline for you. So you don't have to sit there and, get a callus on your finger from going decline, 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 decline. It's a big tool. I know just recently I think it was just the other day, I saw Gig Lebowski, Michael, he went and got an Android, and he's an iPhone user, but he went and got an Android specifically to use DUH. So you guys check it out. If you haven't already, if you're not familiar with Gary's products, they're amazing. I'm sure you're already familiar with Gary, and you can probably tell just from his personality. He is a guy that if you have an issue, you're going to be talking to Gary. So if you download his apps and you have a problem, Gary's going to be on the phone with you. It's not going to just be somebody that might not know, and he's going to sit with you until he fixes the problem. This kind of guy he is. He's a good guy. I'm also starting to work with a company called Display Ride. If you guys aren't familiar with Display Ride is a dash cam that uploads to the cloud, which these days is crazy important. Crazy important because people are starting to get wise to the dash cam thing. They're starting to understand that, well, wait a minute, if I just jump in this guy's car, rob him, or pull anything goes wrong during a rideshare, whatever, they're getting wise to the dash cams, and they know that like almost every one of them out there. I mean, there's very few. There used to be Owl, and there's a couple others now, but most of them still run on the SD cards. So if you physically grab the camera and just rip it off, which isn't, I mean, when I say that's not that hard. I mean, they clamp on or they're attached to the windshield. It doesn't take a lot of work. It's just a yank. But if they grab that camera and pull it, you don't have the footage. So dash cam is constant, or Display Ride is constantly uploading to the cloud. It has a button that you can push that sends you to your phone the last 3 minutes of footage, so that, like, let's say that you were in an accident, it was or wasn't your fault. It's videoing back and front like most dash cams, and it will send you the 3 minutes of video. So if somebody were in an accident, somebody rear ends you or whatever, you literally have the footage, because you'll be shaken up after an accident. You literally have the footage when the police arrive to say, hey, here it is. It's already on your phone before even the police get there. But there's a lot more to it than that too. So you can be checking how you're driving and all this, that, and the other. But you can also email them and say, I need this portion of the clip. So, you after the fact, if it's a not emergency, that red button is just for, I need it right now, the last 3 minutes. So, and then they have a voice thing that says, hey, this is being recorded. That they've done testing and they show that this prevents crime, like it lessens crime in rideshare and other type services, delivery, whatever. Because people just being reminded of that, hearing it, are like, oh, so if they're thinking about doing something, they might rather just, I hate to say it this way, but just get through the ride they're in and not do whatever they might have been planning if they were planning something bad, and just try it on the next guy. Because if you have some things like this in place, and if you're aware of your situation, you're probably going to be a lot better off. But here's the kicker with Display Ride. It's $20 a month for the service, and the dash cam's free. So they'll send you the dash cam for free, and it's $20 a month, unlimited cloud storage. And I think they keep everything up to 14 days. So in my world, if I have an emergency issue, I'm pushing the red button. I'm going to need it right away. Or if it's something I want that piece of footage, I'm going to email them that day when I'm done, the next day. I'm not going to wait 13 days anyway. So, I mean, to keep it for 14 days is huge. But yeah, Display Ride, and you'll be hearing a lot more about it as we go. I do want to welcome two new big sponsors to the podcast, the YouTube channel, everything, that are both free services that are here to help gig workers. And these two I have researched in depth. There is no harm, no foul being done with these free services. One of them is Moves Financial. Moves Financial has a ton of benefits. It can advance you up to $1,000 line of credit. It's a bank where it's built for gig workers. They can attach your account so that you can see what's coming in from each one. But not only that, if you attach your accounts, you can earn portional shares of each company. So if you're driving for Uber, Lyft, when you're spending the time working on those, you're collectively earning shares of the company. Now you're not getting, you're not getting 10 shares a day or anything, but it does add up. And you actually then have a little bit of a portfolio with them. And I know that they're working on some credit rebuilding stuff too. So even if like you're not in the dumpster with your credit, but it's not great, they're starting to now get very logistical about helping build back your credit for gig workers. And one of the main things that I really like that they're doing is, in doing that, they're getting to a point where they're going to be, one of the biggest problems for gig workers is, going out and financing things like especially a house. Even if you're doing amazing or whatever, they're working on a different system to be able to, I hope I'm saying this correctly, but to be able to kind of not so much co-sign for you, but use their leverage as, no, they're not the credit risk you think they are, kind of thing. So I guess we'll be getting into that more too, because I need to learn more about that as well. And the last one, and it's again, I can only take on so much, so I am loaded down right now. But the last one is one that I've wanted to work with since the day they started, is Solo. Solo is amazing, you guys. It's amazing. If you don't know about Solo yet, I mean, I don't know what to tell you. Go back, watch the interview I did last year with the CEO. I've been friends with him for a while, Bryce Bennett. They based out of Seattle. They're now in Miami, Tampa, Nashville, Atlanta, Austin, Dallas, Houston, San Antonio, and they're coming to like 3 other cities in the next month. They are on the move big time. But Solo is an amazing app. And I will really be getting into some details on Solo. In fact, I'm probably going to do a short piece on, like a 5-minute piece on moves. I'm going to do another piece on Solo just to simply break it all down, show you guys how it works. But Solo, worksolo.com. And for moves, it's movesfinancial.com. I'll put all this in the show notes. But you guys, Solo's guaranteed pay earnings. So if you decide that, and they've changed the model a little bit. I thought that, as it was when they were only in Seattle, when I first met them, it was, okay, well, if you're working these are the platforms I work. Okay, well, if you work these on these days, you'll make this much more. Now it's not like that. Now you just literally type in, or you put in the app which apps you're working, and then when you work it, it'll give you a guaranteed pay thing. And so it's saying that if you work, it'll still do the hours. If you work between these hours, the guaranteed pay is $27. So let's say that they work with Lyft, Uber, Uber Eats, DoorDash, Grubhub, GoPuff, Rodeo. I even believe Rodeo, some other ones too. But you can go in there and say which ones you're working. They'll say the guaranteed pay for your area once they're in it. And there's advantages to having the app now, though, too, that I'll get to that in just a second. But so even in areas they're not at yet. So basically, though, they're going to do this guaranteed earnings thing. If you don't make that much in the times that they're saying and what you plug into the app, they write you a check at the end of the week for the difference. So they never guarantee you're going to make less than you're already making. The guarantee comes as higher. And they're basing that on other people working in that city, and they're learning what people are truly making. So they anonymously do take the data, and they don't use anybody's names or anything, but they put everybody's earnings and everything into that market, and it spits out, well, they should be making this. And Solo pays that difference. Very amazing company. I suggest all of you go check it out. I will have an affiliate link on that one too, you guys, very soon. There's already one on uberliftdrivers.com. If you go to uberliftdrivers.com, and there's a banner at the top. It looks like it kind of, right now they're going to change it, but it looks like a Lyft ad almost. It's pink, and it says a little something, but it's hard to read it, about download Solo. But if you click that link, it'll take you right into there. If you go to worksolo.com right now, the landing page lets you enter what city you're in, how many hours you work, and and you can checkbox the platforms. You don't have to put any of your info in, and click submit. It'll tell you how much more they can be making you in that market, even if they're not there yet. Now, what I will say is, if you download Solo and they're not in your market and you're wondering, well, why am I doing this before it gets here? No, Solo is not Prop 22, Brandon. I am, to be honest, I got to tell you guys, I'm anti Prop 22. Prop 22 is a road to unions and unionization. The gig economy cannot be unionized. If it is, it's destroyed, and that just can't happen. But yeah, Gary, for sure, we need to have somebody from Solo on the show, and that won't be a problem either. I'm in with all those guys. So no, Solo is a private company that is actually trying to help avoid, Brandon, things like Prop 22. That's why it's popping up all over right now in these states that matter, because they're trying to say, let's not have legislation saying, oh, because all these people get tricked into Prop 22 is this great thing. Prop 22 is not going to be there forever, guys. And the more states that get on board with Prop 22, the more states that get on board with Prop 22, the worse it's going to be. We were very close to a PRO Act, which was a national issue and would have affected everybody. And most people don't even know about it. Most people don't even know how close the PRO Act was. I say this a lot, but you don't. I was very involved in that fight, so I do. The Biden administration, and this is not political, I'm just stating a fact. The Biden administration was very adamant on the PRO Act, because they don't want people working independently anymore. And if you look at California, AB 5 destroyed everybody's livelihoods that had businesses for 40 years, well before the gig economy. So AB 5 was just a joke law. Prop 22 is a joke solution that can't last. So, and Seattle's going down that road too. The more states that go down that road, look at Instacart. Instacart is looking at leaving the state of California. Okay, that is no joke, you guys. That's a big deal. That is a big deal, because they can't afford to be paying the Prop 22 money, nor do they want to. They shouldn't have to. It's a free market. They should pay people better. And that's why I'm glad for companies like Solo. But let me tell you about the one perk about Solo, whether it's in your app, your market or not. And then as soon as it is, you'll be able to use the guaranteed earnings part. But one thing Solo does that a lot of us gig app people have trouble with is Solo is taking in all of your information from the apps, and it sorts through your taxes for you. It actually helps you when you're preparing your taxes. And that works for everybody right now. Like, if you get Solo app on your phone, you can start it today, just like how we do mileage tracking or expense tracking through all these different apps, that do it. This one's different. This one helps you with taxes. And I know for a fact that, almost all gig workers have trouble with their taxes. Almost all of us. And I don't blame anybody. There are some people who my fiance, she's a tax accountant. And so I mean, even I get a little tripped up sometimes. I know a lot of other people do. I'm not saying I'm a total hot mess about it. I do understand a lot about it, but I'm like, wait, what is it? And then Uber doing things like, the Schedule K, the Schedule C, not putting things together. The earnings don't match up. They've included what their take is. You got to subtract things out. They make it way too difficult. So an app like Solo is now giving you the data you need just to plug it all in at the end. Or if you want to file quarterly, which is always an advantage, but almost none of us really truly do. But it's always an advantage to do that. What's up, Rodney? How are you? If you can pay quarterly, you are much better off. You are much better off. You're in a better standing with the IRS, and you're gonna just be better off. You're not dealing with it once a year. I know you have to deal with it 4 times a year, but if you have an app like Solo, it's easy. You just plug it all in. And I'm saying this because even if you've never believed in the quarterly filings, or you've never really looked into it because you thought, well, I'm not going to do that. There's a lot of changes in this country happening at the moment, and there's a lot coming down the pipe, whether they go for this way or this way. But regardless of that, independent contractorship needs to stay around. But regardless, it's going to be tougher to file than it has been in years past. I mean, they took the threshold of, you don't have to report any independent contractor earnings under, whatever it was. What was it? Like from a specific, it's like 20 grand or something. Now it's $600. So if you have a garage sale and sell a couch, you have to claim that. I mean, you probably could get away with it, but $600 is the new threshold. If you do a transaction independently for over $600, you now have to pay that, and everybody has to file the paperwork. So if it's filed on one side and you don't, you're going to get caught. You're going to get caught in an audit. So there's a lot of trips coming in down the pipe too, and yeah, I mean, just stay sharp, guys. But the Solo app, Moves Financial, Moves Financial, both these are free, guys, too. So you're not losing money. In fact, with Moves, you're gaining shares. They're small, but they also have a lot of tools in there to help you. And if you're with Moves, and as you prove to them that you're earning on the platforms, they'll increase your what you can get in instant pay in a cash advance. So like if your car breaks down, and you're struggling, like so many of us can be in these times. So if you're struggling financially and you're kind of living paycheck to paycheck or week to week, and your car breaks down, well, that just not only did that just interrupt your being able to work, but you might not have that $900 to pay for that. Moves can have that transferred to your account in minutes through the app, so that you can say, okay, and go get your car fixed. And then they really work with you. There's like a super long grace period about before they charge any interest. So it's kind of like an interest-free loan for quite some time, unless you were to close your account. If you close your Moves account, which again is free, then obviously they're going to want you to cash it out. But you guys need to go look into all that stuff. And I've got videos that you can search through the channel and find. And that's about it, you guys. So I don't know. I just wanted to come out and drop all this because there's just a lot of changes, and it kind of helped me to clear my head out on paper today with it. Sitting out in my backyard, the sun was out with my cup of coffee. But yeah, if you guys have any questions, you can always hit me up. And hopefully, I'm going to have this 5-minute video up about my channel, and that it's not just rideshare. All of you guys who are subscribed already know that, but I cover everything. And I'm actually trying to, I know Hannibal's trying to get his hand into the video editing and doing other things like that on his own independently. And I actually was asking him if he would help me make this one video. I would love his help on this, because I want it to be short, quick cuts, but to the point, and get it across so that when you land on the channel, if you're just learning about the channel or you watch something, you like it, and then you see another piece, you're like, wait, that's all over the map. Yeah, it is all over the map, because I cover a lot of different things. But I'm hoping that between what I am thinking in my head and Hannibal's editing skills, that maybe, just maybe, we could make something that I want it to be short too. I want it to be short to the point, but also get the point across that there's a lot of content on here. So that's all I had, you guys. Go out there and have a wonderful Friday, and join us tonight on tncradio.live. Okay, even if you don't want to call in, join us tonight. Check it out. It's a mix of music too. I mean, it's radio. So, there's some music mixed in. There's this, and then we come back, and who knows what we talk about. We talk about all kinds of things. It's fun though. But if you do want to call in, I welcome all of you to call in. If you give me about an hour when this ends, all of the show notes will be in this, and you guys can find the link. But it's tncradio.live, and it's from 7 to 9 Eastern. You can do the math if you're in different time zones. 7 to 9 Eastern. It's a call-in show, and we just talk about a lot of gig economy stuff. So, and tonight I have Ron, Entree Courier, and I have Rideshare Lisa, and Tom Kelly, the station manager, who co-hosts it with me. So, yeah. That's it, you guys. Go have a great Friday, and we'll see you tomorrow. Or I won't see you, but I'll drop a video tomorrow, 13 minutes of news and 13 minutes or under. And on Sunday, we'll see you. Sunday Fun Day. So make sure to join us for that. That's it. Get out of here. Go make some money, guys. What are you doing? Peace.